Hey, I'm ChristopherJMUA and welcome back to my channel. Unless you've never been here, of course, then welcome. I'm so glad you stopped by. Today we are reviewing the Midas Cosmetics She's in Parties palette. I've actually had this palette for quite a while now. I got it the day it came out, which was June 26th of 2020. So I've been holding on to it for a little while now. I've just forgotten about it, and so many new products came out over and over again after that I have reviewed since then. So I still have this palette to review as well as the Smoke Sessions palette. So stay tuned for that video too. It will be coming eventually, I promise. I also picked up a couple of other products. I have the Melt Metal Gloss and the Melt Electra Blush Light. I haven't tried either of those types of products from Melt. I have filmed a couple of other Melt reviews, of which I will leave linked down below so you can check out those reviews as well. See what kind of history Melt Cosmetics and I have together when it comes to my reviews of their products. But with that being said, let's go ahead and jump into the review of the She's in Parties palette. If you would like to know what this palette looks like, what its swatch is like, how it performs, and what my initial first impressions are, then stay exactly where you are, keep doing exactly what you're doing, and keep on watching. Okay guys, first and foremost, this palette was $48. A little on the high end on pricing, in my opinion, but it is pretty level with a lot of other brands within Sephora, and Melt is sold at Sephora. Now, I did order mine from meltcosmetics.com directly rather than Sephora because it was available on Melt before it was available on Sephora. Obviously, it didn't matter if I waited or not because I wasn't going to film a review quickly anyway. I also picked up the Blush Light in the shade Electra. This I got for $15. It was on sale at the time that I bought it. And then I also got the Melt Metal Gloss. This was only $5 because it was on sale as well. And here's what the palette looks like. It has this really decorative floral pattern printed on the front of it. It's really pretty, actually. Then it says She's in Parties and Melt Cosmetics. Then if we flip it over to the back, it shows the same floral adornments as well as, it looks like maybe ingredients at the bottom. Yes, ingredients. And it says directions. Apply around eyes as desired. Phenomenal advice. So love those directions. Then let's open the palette unit carton. Inside we have the palette itself. Ooh, that has a lot more shine and dimension to it than the unit carton did. That print is really pretty. It's not embossed or anything. You can't feel it raised or lowered, but it's very reflective and metallic. That's really pretty. I like that a lot. But same kind of design. Then on the back, it's just full of the floral decorative print, and it says Melt and gives the Melt Cosmetics website. Then if we open the palette, it does have a protector. Ooh, it's a thick one too. Good. I love when they have the thick protectors. It makes me think the shadows are safer. And here we have the palette. Very nudie, very mauve-y, very purple. And now I'm gonna go ahead and zoom you guys in so that we can get started on swatches. The first shade is the shade Skeleton Kiss. Strange Love. Total Immortal. Last Caress. She's in Parties. Sleepwalk. Meanstreak. And Lost Control. And there we have every single swatch from the Melt Cosmetics She's in Parties palette. As always, I will insert photos of the swatches, one with flash here, and one without flash here. And here we have our video close-up of every single swatch. I went ahead and primed my eyes with my Gerard Cosmetics Clean Canvas Eye Base in the shade Fair. And now let's go ahead and create a look with this palette. I noticed too, I didn't realize this beforehand, there's 3 matte shades in here. One is a light shade, one is a medium tone shade, and one is a deeper shade. So we pretty much have 3 colors to make a base. Then a bunch of shimmers. In that way, this palette kind of reminds me of the Natasha Denona Glam palette that I recently reviewed. I'll leave that video linked up here so you can see kind of what I'm talking about. But that palette also has just a few matte shades that you build a base with, and then it has a bunch of varying shimmers that you finish off the look with. So I feel like we're gonna get kind of a similar vibe with this palette. It's just gonna be mauve-y purpley toned instead of cool neutral toned. And let's be honest, if it was me choosing if I wanted a cool neutral look or a purple mauve look, I would definitely choose a purple mauve look, because I'm a purple mauve kind of guy. I really like maroon also. Maroon is really pretty, especially whenever I have days when my eyes are more green than blue, then I can really push the green and make it look just extra pretty. But for now, I'm going to start with the Morphe M441 brush, and I'm going to go into the shade Last Caress. And I'm going to caress this crease of mine. Can you see how smooth and beautiful my crease looks? It's that Gerard Cosmetics clean canvas. If you've been sleeping on it, you shouldn't. And don't forget guys, you guys can always use code ChristopherJMUA on GerardCosmetics.com and save 30% on any purchase, including the clean canvas eye bases. No pressure, you don't have to. Just get the clean canvas eye base. Whether you use my code or not, you have to try this base. So we have a lot of kickback in the pan. Looks like the very powdery shade, which is sort of typical for melt shadows. However, they pack a punch. I'd have to say hands down, Melt is probably one of my favorite eyeshadow formulas. If you like bold, powerful, punchy pigment, Melt is the way to go. The formula is definitely very powdery, a lot of kickback, a lot of fallout, but the pigment is there. The quality is there. That is so pretty. I think I got Last Caress everywhere I want it now. Of course, I'm not going to have this super elongated wing shape once I'm done because I will be cutting some of that off. But for now, it's a cute little moment. Now I'm going to go in with the Morphe M456 brush and go into the shade Total Immortal. And this is the shade I'm going to be using to blend out the shade Last Caress. I'm essentially going to apply it to each edge of Last Caress to where it has that light tone right beside it, and then just blend it out using tiny little circular motions. Oh, I didn't mention this earlier, but this mirror is like the perfect size to get right here on the eyes, just like all the other Melt palettes. And I'm also going to use this shade to completely fill the inner corner of my crease as well. This way I'll have that really soft purpley mauve tone everywhere. It just won't be so dark up in the front. Oh, I love that. Alright, now if I was wearing this look to work, this is probably where I would stop on the level of deepness and darkness that it goes, because this is pretty deep for a daytime look, but we are here to test out the palette. So why not use as many shades as I can in the palette? So next, I am going in with this Morphe M456, again, but a clean one, and I'm going to go into the shade Meanstreak. The shade is much warmer, but much deeper than the previous purpley tones. So I'm just going to use this right in the crease, and it's going to be the deepest point on the outermost corner. That way I can deepen slowly and kind of keep an eye on it as I build it up. And see the fallout that just came? I didn't tap off the brush, so obviously there's going to be fallout because of that. There is quite a lot of fallout right underneath where I just applied that shade. So just bear that in mind. I would definitely recommend doing your eyes first when using this palette before you do your face makeup, if you do face makeup, just in case. Better safe than sorry. And I'm just going to keep the shade right in the deepermost portion of the crease, and I'm going to carry it just slightly higher than where my eyelid touches the top of my crease. That way you can still see it when I open my eyes all the way, but it won't completely take over the look. There we go. That is so gorgeous. I love this so far. Now that I have the crease completely built up with all of the matte shades, I'm going to use this Morphe M204 flat brush and go into the shade Sleepwalk. That had so much kickback. I mean, like, I just swooped the brush into the palette and I got Chunk City. And with this shade, it's going to be essentially just my outer corner shade. Just going to use it on the lid and only the lid, and keep it on pretty much the outer half of my lid. It definitely takes the slightest pressure to get shadow off of that shade. That's a really beautiful color for a purple shade. It didn't do much in the way of metallicizing the look, if you will. However, it did definitely give me a deeper purple tone to the outer portion of the lid, and it also gave me a ton of fallout on my face. So now I'm gonna use this Morphe M124 other flat brush, just not nearly as wide as the previous brush. And now I'm gonna go into the shade Strange Love. I'm gonna go a lot softer in it this time in the hopes that it's not gonna be Chunky City. Ooh, it's not Chunky City. Okay. And this shade is gonna go on the inner portion of my lid, the inner half, I suppose. And I'm gonna take it all the way right up to the inner corner of the lid. Oh, that shade is sickening. Oh, the reflect that it has, and it's like a duochrome shift. It's like a pinky purple, but then it's a gray almost. Like just a straight mauve, like a brown, gray, purple. It's really, really pretty. I like that a lot. All right, got the lid completely covered with the shade Strange Love, and I'm so obsessed with this so far. I'm trying to imagine it like cleaned up without these little lines here. But either way, it's fantastic. Now I'm gonna take this flat beaky blender brush. It's just pretty much like the same two brushes I used, just much more flat and kind of pointed at the end. And I'm gonna go to the shade Skeleton Kiss. That shade is gonna be used on my brow bone. Oh wow, that is so perfect. It's like my skin tone, but with a pink and purple shift to it. Ugh. Now that I have a skeleton's kiss on my brow bone, that finishes off the whole top part of this look, and I'm living for this right now. This has me written all over it. The only color that could top this whole color story is just an ocean royal blue. But aside from that, nothing can beat this look so far because this is just so beautiful. It's my kind of vibe. I love it. Anyway, I'm gonna go ahead and go off camera and do all of my face makeup, get my mascara on, my lashes done, these edges cleaned up so that they actually look presentable. I'm gonna go ahead and use the blush light and the gloss. Then I'll come back and give my final thoughts on those, and we'll also finish off the lower lash line with the Melt She's in Parties palette. So I will see you guys in just a second. Alright, face makeup is now applied. Now, when it comes to the Melt Blush Lighter, this thing was not what I expected at all. I honestly don't even remember the pictures of it from whenever I ordered it. I just knew that it was going to be purple and it was supposed to fit the theme of this palette. So was the gloss. But this is like a super sheer white purple powder. I mean, you can see what color it is, but just whenever it goes on very like this. I don't know how else to explain it. It's probably meant for someone much fairer than I, because if you were super fair and you put this on as a blush, it's gonna give you probably a nice subtle purpley tone. That's pretty much what it did for me too, but I definitely needed another blush to add real color to my face because it wasn't deep enough to really show anything. So I probably wouldn't buy that again personally, but if you're really fair and you want to have a pastel purple blush, then that would be for you. Then the gloss. I made the mistake of putting a lipstick on underneath this. I thought I was going to need one. I thought it was going to be sort of sheer. I didn't really try it out beforehand, but it is definitely a very opaque gloss. Very opaque. I mean, there's a swatch that is very opaque. And it's also really thick, but it smells amazing. It smells like chocolate, I think. And I do actually really like it. I just wish I wouldn't have put a lipstick on underneath it, as I bet it would look really great just by itself. And it surely has enough pigment in it to work by itself. Just know that it's not gonna be your cutesy light little purple tinted gloss. It's gonna be your purple gloss. Now, let's go ahead and finish off the eye look. This time, I'm gonna start by using this flat Morphe brush. It's actually a pretty wide flat brush, but doesn't matter. I'm just going to be using one side of it. And I'm going to go back into the shade Meanstreak. And here, Meanstreak is just going to get applied to the outer edge of the lower lash line. I'm just going to gently pat it on, and I'm going to keep it as close to the lashes as I can because I'm going to be blending it out with another color. So I don't want to have it be too thick of a line. Oh yeah, that's good. And now, gonna use the Morphe X Madison Beer Bullet Brush Blender, and I believe I'm gonna use the shade Last Caress again. I was debating between Total Immortal and Last Caress, but let's go a little bit deeper instead of lighter. Why not? And now for the very last finishing touch, I'm going to use the Morphe, whatever this Morphe brush is. It's a very flat definer brush, and I'm going to go into the shade Skeleton Kiss, and that is going to be my inner corner highlight. Yes, just like my brow bone. Oh, that is heaven. Inner corner is done, so the whole look is complete. So now I'm gonna go off camera really quick, finish off my brows and apply my mascara to my lower lashes, and I'll be completely done. Then I can give you guys my final thoughts on the Midas Cosmetics She's in Parties palette. Be right back. Here we are now with the finished look. So this is what I was able to create with the palette. I think this is a really beautiful palette. I think for 8 shades, it was able to create a really beautiful look, and I think that I could continue to create really beautiful looks. Yes, they will be very monochromatic because pretty much the whole palette is a shade of purple or mauve, but for me, that's kind of a perfect setup because I do love purples and mauve. So all in all, would I recommend this palette? Yes, if you like purples a lot like me. However, I do think that $46 is way too much for 8 shades, even though the Midas Cosmetics formula is bomb and just amazing. If you don't love purple, you won't love this palette for the price that it is. I would wait if you're not just a huge purple fanatic until it goes on sale, maybe, because it is a really great formula, and I do think that it's well worth it for the purple lovers. But if you're not one of those, I would wait until it goes on sale just so you can still get the experience to use it, but get it at a discounted price so that you don't have to pay $46 for a purple palette that you might use a few times. But for all my purple lovers out there, hands down, love the formula, love the blendability, love the colors, love the shine and the metallic finish that the shimmer has. I think this eye looks gorgeous. I love it. The gloss and the blush lighter, I have mixed emotions for, but the palette, I love it. So that's my opinion on the She's in Parties palette, but I want to know what you guys think. Leave me a comment. Let me know what you think. Let me know what you think about the formula. Let me know what melt palettes you've tried, if you have tried any. You guys know that I'd love to have a conversation with you, so by all means, let me know. Don't forget to give me a thumbs up if you did enjoy the video. It does let me know that you like my content, but it also lets YouTube know that you like my content. So it really helps me out, if you don't mind. Also, if you like this look and you want to see more looks like them, you can follow me on Instagram, Twitter, Snapchat, and TikTok. My username is the same for everything. It's just ChristopherJMUA. And if you gain nothing out of this video, if you gain nothing out of any of my videos, please at least gain this, and that is to always remember and never forget that you are absolutely beautiful. And I love you guys. Bye.